Guys, real quick, just going to use this opportunity to shill my other platforms. You can find all my links on my Linktree page. The main pages I'm going to be using other than YouTube are going to be Minds, Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, and Truth Social. So if you guys want to give me a follow over on those other platforms, I'd really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright everyone, what is up here today? Got another video for you. This one is going to be Eagles related, as it is about the Colts-Eagles game. And I'm calling this one the ugly win, guys, because this is by far the ugliest win of the season. The Eagles beat the Colts 17-16 in what amounts to just a really ugly mental battle is the only way that I can describe it. Now, credit given where credit is due. The Colts defense looked very good in this game. They were all over the Eagles. I couldn't tell if the Eagles O-line was failing or if the Colts D-line was just that good. But Jalen Hurts was having a rough time. He did rush. He got 2 rushing touchdowns, one in the beginning of the game and one at the end of the game. But overall, he was highly molested during this game, and he just never could get his bearing as far as the run game goes. That was the biggest thing. They couldn't really get the run game going. They were tossing it up quite a bit. Devontae Smith had some good yards, but unfortunately, A.J. Brown did have a fumble in this game. It was a pretty bad one as well. Right at the end of the game, the Eagles had an amazing turnover of downs, and they basically could have iced the game right there. But A.J. Brown kept it interesting by fumbling the ball, and then the Eagles, of course, still ended up winning. But you know, it was a hard-earned win. We didn't win until the very last second of the game. Also, very good to see our new recent signings in Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. I hope I said his name right. They combined for a sack today, so that was good to actually see new pickups, you know, immediately contribute to the team, as we all know now that Jordan Davis is likely to be done for at least quite a while. I'm not sure if he's on IR completely, but, you know, the Eagles are definitely saying, you know, we are in a win now mode. They don't want to squander this now 9-1 lead. So it's very good to see the new players contributing, and hopefully they can stay on track. And that's what's going to lead into my next segue, guys. In my opinion, the Eagles defense was really the only thing that kept us in this game. This offense was very Chip Kelly-ish today, very late Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz-ish. You know, it was just a train wreck. And again, I kind of hinted at it in my last video, but you know, eventually when a team loses, you kind of have like a blueprint for how to beat them, and I think that NFL teams are going to continue to pick up on the Eagles' weaknesses, which I've always said is the run, the heavy run reliance. Now the Eagles can get the ball out. They have a lot of offensive weapons. Jalen Hurts is actually a very good thrower. He's one of those, I'm one of those doubters, I'll admit. Like, I didn't think Hurts would be as good of a thrower as he is. However, they can now look at this, and one of the takeaways that I get is that if you rush heavy on this team, it can really hurt us. And that's what the Redskins did. That's what the Colts did. So the Colts defense, I don't really know how good it is, but as far as their pass rush today, it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, they were getting all over in Hurts' face, and that is, I think that's the weakness of the Eagles that teams now have the blueprint on, is that if you fluster Hurts, make him run around. I mean, he's not like as bad as Wentz was, but if you fluster him, make him run around, you know, he can start to get a little desperate, and maybe he doesn't do all of his reads, or he'll try to, you know, over-rely on the run. But, you know, the Eagles did get it done today, but I think really it starts now, and I'll get into the whole NFC East picture as a whole. You guys can already see it on the screen, obviously. The Cowboys completely annihilated the Vikings today, so I'm actually glad that I waited to make this video, because I kind of was going to make this video right around when the Eagles had already won, but now that the Cowboys result is out, it makes this a lot better. But I digress. Before we get into the actual division, I want to go over the Eagles' remaining schedule, because, again, now that the Eagles have lost, it changes things. I know that sounds kind of weird to say. We're 9-1. We're clearly ahead of the rest of the division by two wins, but again, it changes things, because now the Eagles are not undefeated. A little bit of their swagger will be gone, and also, again, like I said, teams will have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder entering the end of the season. So we play a desperate Packers team coming up next. Luckily, it's in Philadelphia. Then we play a Titans team, which is 7-3 as of now. They're coming to Philadelphia. So those could be two potentially tough battles right there. And then, like I said, we finally face the Giants December 11th, and this is actually in New York. So this could be a really, really tough game for the Eagles. Now, the Giants did lose today, pretty bad actually. I wouldn't call it a blowout, but they lost pretty bad to the Lions today. So took them down a peg. But again, this is division. When it comes to division, you can never count it out because teams always bring their A game with division. Just look at what happened with the Redskins. And then after that, we play the Bears at the Bears. The Bears are 3-8 right now. However, again, any given Sunday. And then we finish with the Cowboys, the Saints, and again the Giants. So that's just the remaining schedule right there. At best, I would say the Eagles need to at least get through the season with 3, maybe 4 losses at the most to secure a playoff spot, especially given the current state of the NFC as a whole right now. Yeah, the NFC, basically the Vikings lost, so they're now 8-2. And then we've got the Seahawks at 6-4, and the rest are 5-win teams. So, like I said, we could probably get it done with 4 wins. However, with the Giants and the Cowboys on our ass, and then also the Redskins, they're 6-5 now. They didn't blow out. Well, it was a blowout for most of the game, but the Texans made it a little confusing there at the end. But yeah, the Redskins are getting their swagger back, guys, and they beat us too. So again, that's probably a lot of motivation for them to continue to get better. So that's what's weird about this season is like normally I'm looking outside the division for the threats, but really the threat is in the division, as you will clearly see on the screenshot that I left there. That is really all you need to know. 8-2 Vikings, whatever. They got blown out by the Cowboys. I don't even know if I'm worried about them anymore. It's the division, guys, and the division is always dicey. Even when the NFC East is not a good division, these teams always have blood when it comes to playing each other. So that's what I'm looking at. That is what I'm analyzing, and we'll see how it goes. I just really cannot wait to finally play the Giants for the first time because that's going to tell us a lot, especially if we can beat them, even if it's the first time beating them. And then if we lose to them, again, we play them at the end of the season, so that could be a literal playoff game right there. And then we play the Saints right before, which I hate the Saints. They're my most hated team. I think you guys already know that. I actually hate them more than the Cowboys. And one of the biggest reasons for that is because we have some of the worst historical luck I've ever seen in my life against the Saints. So I never like seeing them on any schedule, but we got to play them right before the Giants to end the season. So the Eagles they need to just run the table. That's what I would like to say. They just need to beat all 5 of these teams leading up to the last 2 games of the season. Will they do it? I don't know. But yeah, to kind of close off here, it's a little bit in reverse as my normal videos. I'm not really going to go over the Colts game that much because, like I said, it's just an ugly win. The Eagles got it done. Literally at the very end, they got it done. It was like one of those games that just you felt like they were going to lose the whole time, and you kind of mentally accepted it, but then they just won in the end. So good for us. A win is a win. You're going to hear a lot of people hating on the win. I understand. It was a really ugly win, and the Eagles aren't even that injured, so it made it even worse. It was just literally a mental fart is the best way I can say it. And the Colts have Jeff Saturday now. They're a little different. It was something you can't really plan for. Also, Nick Sirianni came from the Colts, so this was a little bit of a different game. I get it. It was kind of a homecoming of sorts for Sirianni, but the Eagles they almost laid an egg right in the middle of the Colts stadium, but they managed to get it done. I can't believe they did because after that A.J. Brown turnover, I thought for sure it was over, but then the Colts turned it over. So that is that, as they say, 17-16. So really, that's all I wanted to talk about. They are 9-1. You look at the division standings here, guys. I mean, it's plain to see. 9-1, 7-3 Giants, 7-3 Cowboys, 6-5 Redskins. I mean, this is a tight race. And then the 8-2 Vikings they're still on the heels, but I'm not really afraid of them. We already beat them once. And again, the Vikings are like the opposite of the Saints. We have very good luck against them usually. And so I'm not too worried about them. The Seahawks we do have trouble with. So if they get into the playoffs and we have to play them, that's what I'm looking at. I guess I'll give you this right before I end the video. If I'm picking division winners today, I'm going to pick the Eagles, the Vikings. If I'm going to the South, I'm probably going to pick the Bucks, especially given the whole divorce FTX scandal. I think that Tom Brady's going to be extra motivated to win this year, especially now. So I think the Bucks are about to go on a run. It's just my prediction. And then in the West, I'm going to give it to either the Niners or the Seahawks. I think ultimately the Niners will win the division, and the Seahawks will probably be like a wild card. So that's my prediction. So we've really got to deal with the Niners. We're going to have to deal with the Bucks again, probably play them in the playoffs, just given our luck. We might play the Vikings, but really it's this whole division, guys. This whole division, I keep reiterating, we could be playing them all again in the playoffs. Like, how wild would that be? We play every team in our division, maybe minus the Redskins because they probably won't quite make it, but we could play the Giants and the Cowboys again in the playoffs. That would be wild. Imagine that if we do go to the Super Bowl. Imagine that we have to beat that would be the best thing ever. We would have to beat the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Redskins to get to the Super Bowl. How funny would that be? So anyway, guys, this video is long enough. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I've repeated myself ad nauseum. I do apologize if it was a bit repetitive, but I'll just close with my usual spiel here. Go ahead and be sure to like this video. Really helps the YouTube algorithm. Also subscribe if you're new. Really appreciate the support there. And then lastly, the most important, if you guys have not checked me out on the alternative tech platforms, I leave a trailer at the beginning of every video so that you can see where those are, and then in the description there is a link to my Linktree page that has all of my links. I've kind of prioritized them in order of importance to me, so that way you'll know like which ones to follow over others. There's a lot over there. I'm branching out, so yeah, you can cut me some slack here. But anyway, as always, guys, I want to thank you so much for checking out the videos, subscribing to the channel, and just any interaction you have with my content. I appreciate it very much. And with that said, this has been Jigsaw0097. I will talk to you all later.